Look out, I saw Glint over there, watch out.
Yeah, I'm literally getting sniped at right now. I wonder where he's at. Oh,
Who knows?
Get up
Right
while you
next
still
to
can.
You should be careful.
dude, he's gonna get me for sure.
Why do you have your sniper? You're seeing the sniper point blank range?
What?
I could have sworn it's like right from that building. No?
There? That's what I thought. Dude, is it you guys? You. Oh my god, that was perfect. I legit am looking for someone. I'm like, what the hell, dude? I can't see anybody.
What's up, nerds? Mark here, and if you're tired of Mike reviewing the same sniper 14,000 times, then you picked the right video, because today we are taking a look at the best all-around AR for casual players to use in Warzone. But before we start, if you guys are new here and like this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications to get all of our videos as soon as they drop. You guys have absolutely been killing it with subs lately. We blew through that 1K sub goal, and we are well on our way to that 10K goal. So we want to hit that this year. We need your guys' help to get there. Hit that subscribe button. Also, if this video is helpful, leave it a like so we know what you guys want more of. And do me a huge favor. Tell us in the comments if you prefer Modern Warfare weapons or Black Ops weapons in Warzone. Alright, back to it. As I mentioned, we will be comparing the top all-around ARs in Warzone to decide which one is actually the best for average players to use. And as such, I am only looking at some of the Modern Warfare ARs. Now, I know Black Ops guns like the QZR and Krieg are hot right now, but they need to be unlocked, so if you don't have the game, that's unfortunate. And you got to learn how to use them in order for them to be truly effective. So, we're taking a look at the Warfare side of things. Now, a little bit of info on how these comparisons will work and what the methodology was behind the research. For our comparison, we will be looking at the Grau, the M4, the Kilo, and the M13. Now, first off, this is not about the optimal time to kill, because that only applies if you hit all your headshots within the optimal range. Instead, we're looking at the usability of the gun, including rate of fire, recoil pattern, ADS speed, and reload speed. All of these guns are set up the exact same way with the exception of the barrels. Each AR will have a monolithic suppressor, the VLK 3.0 times optic, 60 round mags, and finally the Commando foregrip. In addition to this, I used whatever barrel is the most ranged on the gun, with the exception of the M4, which I'm using the Corvus Custom Marksman rather than the Grenadier, because it's actually more functional with only a slight decrease in overall range for the weapon. If you're interested in doing your own research, I recommend you do what we do here at MDM and go to truegamedata.com and explore any gun you want. This guy has built a huge database, and it gives you literally any stat info you could possibly want to know. So I want to give credit where credit's due. Go out and check that out if you want to see the numbers for yourself. With that in mind, let's start looking at weapon stats. First, let's take a look at the rate of fire for each weapon. This is a side-by-side comparison so you can see visually what each gun looks like. As expected, the M13 is clearly the quickest firing here. Now, this is great in terms of ability to throw lead across the map, but in reality, the damage component ties into this as well. Although it is the fastest firing, the M13 has the lowest damage output of these four guns. As far as damage, the M4 actually comes in first with the highest damage rate. However, keep in mind that these guns all have some level of damage fall off after a certain distance. The M4 has considerable drop off from 377 down to 296 DPS after about 51 meters. However, it still has the highest overall damage at tier 2 damage range. Also, good to know is that the Kilo has the lowest damage at range and has a third damage fall off tier that negatively impacts you at longer ranges, bringing your DPS down to only 225 anything outside of 97 meters. In reality, you shouldn't be using an AR that far anyways, but in case you were in that situation, it's good to know the Kilo has the lowest damage. Next, let's take a look at the ADS time. In this case, the M13 here is the winner again with a 361 millisecond ADS time. Now, this matters when you're first getting into an engagement, as the quicker you can put a sight on someone and shoot them, the more likely you are to win the engagement. The reason I use the VLK scope on this, and this is really important, is that it gives the weapon a higher range, obviously, and higher accuracy, which are both good, but It also provides greater aiming stability while taking fire and moving, so it helps keep you accurate when you need it the most. Now with this range, it's best to obviously pair this with something like an SMG or a shotgun depending on your preferred playstyle, but an AR with a VLK scope is going to give you a little bit more of an extension than you normally have and keep you more steady as you're shooting. Alright, on to the reload speed. Now this one is super important as it helps you get back into the fight quicker once you empty your clip. Now, the best reload speed here is the Grau with 2.15 seconds reload time. Although this is only slightly below the M13, which has the highest at 2.37 seconds, it can mean the difference between winning and losing a gunfight with just those few 100-millisecond difference. That can literally be the thing that makes or breaks it if you don't have ammo in your gun. So, higher reload speed, better the weapon is. Lastly, but almost the most important factor here, is the recoil. Now this is where things get interesting because each gun has its own stability, but also it has its own recoil pattern, and that comes into play. The M4 has the best initial recoil pattern, but after a few bullets, it pulls on a 90-degree angle to the side. The hardest kicking of the bunch is the Kilo, which pulls left and up, but has a lot of variation as it moves. The Grau actually has the most vertical recoil, however, the recoil pulls up significantly harder than any of the other guns. And finally, the M13 has the most steady recoil with a straight 90-degree pull up to the right. Now, in my opinion, the winner here is actually the M13, as it's the easiest of all of them to control when in an active engagement. But you're welcome to decide which one you prefer for yourself and which one works better for you in those situations. So, that's it on stats and live comparisons. Now let's take a look at the comparison chart for the optimal TTK values. Now, I cannot stress enough that this is based on theoretical time to kill, not practical use. So this may actually play out differently for you in a real scenario. But let's take a look at the numbers. Within the first damage range and into the longer ranges, the M4 is obviously the winner. However, let's look at this middle section right here between 40 and 60 meters. This is where things get funky, and you may have different experiences based on your personal choice. With the exception of the Grau, each AR actually has its own lowest optimal TTK depending on the range that you are currently at. So keep this in mind when you're engaging. Ping your target and take a second to decide if you're in the correct range to make this a fight you can win. If not, consider rotating to a better position and give yourself a higher chance of winning the fight. Alright, now it's time for the big moment. Which gun is actually the best to use? Well, I'm actually going to present you two options. First is the M4, which I believe is the all-around most functional AR in Warzone right now. Yes, I know there are more options, and yes, I know some of the Black Ops guns are popping up more, but for me, this was the easiest AR to drop in and get kills with. It has the best overall usability, in my opinion, and it's actually my highest used gun next to the MP5 in Warzone, so really consider this as a possible option. You could change up the optic if you wanted to, but that's probably the only thing that I would change about this loadout and make it a little better for yourself. That being said, if you really have a tough time landing shots and can't control your recoil, I would recommend you switch to the M13. It has lower damage output, but at the correct range, this thing barely moves when you shoot it. And if you're a console player with aim assist, this thing absolutely doesn't move at all. It is a straight up laser. So if recoil in landing your shots is an issue, give the M13 a shot and see how it works. Well, that's it for today, guys. I hope this was helpful to you and gives you some things to consider for the next time you drop in. Do me a favor. If you made it this far in the video, please comment below. I hope Mike packed enough firewood for the camping trip. If you don't know, Mike is the campiest human being on Earth in Warzone and needs to be called out for it. So, let him have it. As always, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. We will see you nerds later.